Hello, hello everyone. My voice is audible. My voice is audible. My voice is audible. Hello everyone. My voice is audible. So in this live session, we are going to talk about the product engineering. So today's is my 184 days since I starting on my project. Throughout these days, I learn a lot and I come up with a new concept. So I just want to share with you the insight of my product journey. And I observe here you need at this moment the product engineering concept. So I create this very intuitive understanding through graph and visual effect that help you a lot. So last 6 months I have learned a lot and I refactor my code base. If you look at this is my original production ready code base. So it's been 6 months. I almost refactor 5 times because I had no idea how to build a production ready platform. Because on this YouTube, nobody share their actually real code base and they just share tutorial based things, right? But in this my code base, I have more than 14 hundreds file, 14 hundreds and 90,000 lines of code throughout this project. So it is a very huge project and it is very difficult to manage. So how I manage it, how I understand the concept. So guys, in the Notion, I just document all this stuff, right? So if so, I'm not gonna just exactly explain this software architecture, what I follow in my code base, but rather I will walk you through a very intuitive understanding before dive into deep dive into software engineering framework. So we have an entire stage. So this is the software architecture. If you look at stage 5, we call it software architecture, and then we have a business problem. So like if you don't know what problem you are solving with your product, you just create a toy, and maybe you create amazing like software, but nobody wants that. So the first stage is business problem, and then we have system thinking, architecture thinking, system design, and then software architecture, right? So if I talk about like immediately about a software architecture, you can understand from software, but you cannot evaluate the software you are building actually makes sense, actually people want, or what problem it solves. So you have to think about from uh, three angles. So we call it's a product engineering, right? So like we call it a product manager, but in SaaS company we call product engineering. We call product manager. So manager is totally different than product engineering. So product engineering decide which features, the product direction they decide, right? And as a junior developer, you just implement that features. So if you don't understand this system design, so your job here, only here, implementation design or implementation. Just if you're a senior developer, just your job at stage 7 or 9, just implement what your team or your manager or your product engineer provide you. You just implement accordingly. But if you look at the whole process, because at this moment I feel like you have to become a product engineer as well. Why is that? In this era, AI era, one human can run the entire company. So this is my assumption. So you don't need team. So you are the everything, from designing your product, understanding your product, launching your product. So you have to understand the entire process. So just you have to understand. You don't need to spend a bunch of time to just understand in details, right? Because AI can like if you actually understand all those terminology and mental model, you have just asked AI and AI can just write code. So I observe in this AI era, three type of engineer exist and people exist. One is non-technical. They fully rely on AI. So they give prompt, AI create. They cannot understand. Second, we have junior developer. So as I said, guys, junior developer role is like this implementation, and they are full stack developer, but I don't think so. They can understand this all this stuff. So from day one, they cannot decide. Right? So they create like they organize their code base like a demo or tutorial style, which means they organize their code base technical folder structure. But if you have more than 50,000 lines of code and more than 1,000 files, then trust me. So here I'm just showing my code base. It has more than 90,000 lines of code and more than 1,400 files. So technical technical code base doesn't help you out. So to understand that about things, we have to understand the system are designed and software architecture. So junior developer don't understand this type of stuff. They just focus on just implementation and with just I observe they organize their code based on the technical folder. That's all. Yeah, that's cool when you have a very low files, right? So we start like this: database, business rules, or business operation, and then UI. We have only 3 stage, right? And yeah, that's code base cool for if you are just building a toy or any demo things. But for production ready, that's not gonna help you out, because your ultimate goal to help the real users, your ultimate goal to evaluate, your ultimate goal to iterate. So all those terminology I'm saying you cannot achieve with your existing mental model like uh, database, then business operation, and then UI. You have to at least you have to understand software architecture. This phase. If you don't understand this part, yeah, but I recommend you just go through this understanding. Thousands of videos exist, system design, architectural thinking. So I just create a very overview, each point, each stage. So you can see the diagram, whatever things you need, right? But before jump into this software engineering framework, I want you guys, I want you to walk you through my core mental model, that is, I call it's a pain avoidance paradigm. And throughout this live session, so like every single day, I don't live do a live session, but from today on, I will show you a lot of things. Trust me, you get a lot of intuition, a mental model. I call it a mental model that's help you out. Once you understand these type of things, you just ask AI, and from day one, AI can exactly follow your prompt, your instruction. Because if you follow me, so you understand how I ask AI. Because when you have a bigger project, if you don't run agent, and if you run agent, so agent takes a lot of token, right? But if you want a reliable, deterministic code base, so guys, trust me, this type of intuition help you out a lot, because I spent last 6 months understanding this, my own software, my own code base, and I never ever get any solution from YouTube video. So I just optimize and refactor 10 times. So then I learn this type of things, and I face problem, I understand it, and that's all. So here, I just want you guys, from day one, you can scale your code base. You can organize your code base. Like, you have to follow modularity. You have to follow modularity. So yeah, we will talk about it, what modularity is, throughout this our software architecture. So right. So as I said, uh, so software architecture is part of this whole engineering concept. If you look at, we have this. Uh, so we have here software architecture, right? So route, let's walk you through. So everything began with human. As you guys know, everything so the world exists because of human. If you just only care about human. In this assumption, let's say we have just human, right? What the hell, man? So I spend a little bit time on this concept I called a pain avoidance paradigm. Every human on this earth, on this planet, they are doing what they are doing because of they have self-interest. And to understand what self-interest is, let's understand every human wants to avoid their pain. And pain, it's kind of like physical pain, mental pain. So let's talk about only mental pain. And I call it a paradigm, because through this paradigm I explain the entire my things. So we have three concept, or three pillar, or three component in this paradigm. We have psychology, technology, and economics. So our ultimate goal focus on the particular technology, because as a builder, yeah, our ultimate goal to understand this technology part. But in essence, we can understand like this paradigm very simple way. So psychology just basically says human behavior, and then economics monetize that behavior, and technology scale that behavior. So the fundamental workflow is first understand people, then create value, which means you have to understand the human, what they have problem, what they want, in simple word. Once you find out, once you find out what human want and what the problem exists, then you have to create a value. Why they care about your product? What your product is better than somebody else? What value you are providing? Then you have to scale. So scale part is taken care of by technology. You only can scale through technology. Why I'm saying technology is very important, because guys, you are a developer, so you understand what technology can do. So physical business cannot scale rapidly than technology. If you look at the top world company, they're from technology like Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, now like Amazon. These are they they stay inside our technology spectrum, right? And if you understand the dependency or interlinked, so technology influence psychology, psychology influence technology, technology influence economics, economics influence technology, right? So I'm not gonna take you in details, but overall just understand, because most of the time we spend on technology part. The key insight from this paradigm. So psychology explained behavior, economics monetize behavior, and technology scales behavior. So it seems easy things, but guys, to be honest, once you understand the details, then you understand, okay, the world, why the way world act. So this is a mechanism, and like the product companies or societies emerge from the interaction of psychology and economics. Then we have a value creation system. So earlier I talked about a value. So what value is? What is the cycle? What is the cycle of value? Who create it? Who participate it? How can see this value? We have two concepts. We have perspectives. We have participant. So first understand what value creation system is. So our assumption is very simple. We only care about human. So human has problem, right? So human has problem. So this is a cycle. So everything starts with human. So why do you create company? It's not because we love to create company. There is a reason to solve human problem. That's all. So we have human problems, and then we have value creation. So human problem, which means this is from human. So we have this value creation cycle. We have three participant: one consumer, founders, builder, or software engineer. You can say the human problems, then value creation, value delivery, value consumption, and then again a new problem. So this is the circle. This is the loop. And the key idea is every product, company, and technology exists because of someone had a problem. If you solve that problem, you will be rewarded. That's all. So we can understand this value creation system from two abstraction. One is I call perspectives, and then participant. So perspectives like how the system is viewed. The participant is who acts within the system. So first understand the participant. So we have a value creation cycle. So this is a value. So yeah, this is a value creation system. So system means what exists. That's the meaning of system in this case. What exists. So the existing of problem, the problem, right? So human can act. A human can play a different actor. So we have only care about three things. A consumer. So consumer experience problems. Founders create that solution, which means create value in a very business term we call a value. And then we have builder, which means you can say software engineer. So it scales that value. So guys, you have to become both a founders as well as a builder. So from founder perspective, we have something. So don't worry. Let's understand this cycle. As I said, consumer experience problems. Then founder creates value, which means they found a solution. So they design the solution, and then software engineer or builder scales that value, which means now from any nation you can reach every nation through technology. Physically, it's very hard to scale rapidly, but from technology, from day one, you can launch your company, your software, and everybody can install it, and maybe they can visit your website, whatever it is. So from day on, there is a chance to scale. Then again, then consumer receive better solution, guys. This term is very important, better solution. So when you launch, not only you can launch your company, thousands of people working on same idea. Human only consume your product because if you provide a better solution, if you're able to solve their problem, they accept your solution and they provide a reward. So in this case, we can call reward means money or whatever monetary term you can think of. So this is a cycle, and this cycle is like it's a loop. Consumer experience problem, founder creates value, a software engineer scale it, consumer receive a better solution again. So this cycle, right? That's why every decade some technology, because nowadays people think AI replace founders, AI replace like workers. But if you understand from very deeply, you understand human have problem, and problem emerge uh, like with a new form of difficulties or preference or fantasies, right? So the format change when you talk about this concept, the paradigm. So I just said human want to avoid their pains. So if you understand a human being, so human being are pleasure seeking machine, pain avoidance into their DNA. No matter how moral or disciplined they pretend to be, at the end of the day, they chase pleasure and they crave dopamine in different format. So the format evolves over the time. Nowadays, people like a fantasy, and when you have resources, you want more fantasies, more choices, more preference, right? So the format is not stable; it's a dynamic, right? So according to that dynamic, you have to adjust. So that's why AI help you out to rapidly create that solution. So this is a cycle, guys. It's very important. So this is the uh, from a value creation perspective system. We have the participant. Now we have perspective. So value creation system, we can see how the system is viewed. Again, system is just what exists. So we have talked about this part of value creation cycle. Now we have a value creation perspective. Again, guys, so here we are just understanding this software engineering. So we have first step is business problem. Just to understand what business problem is, we just walk through our these things, right? So it's very important. So we talk about the value creation, right? So again, if you are a first time, I'm just saying it. So we are just understanding our software engineering concept. Okay, so the ultimate goal from how from last few days I have learned the entire concept, because at this moment I have more than 1400 files and above 80,000 lines of code in my existing code base. That's it's very worth understanding this concept. Now I can evaluate, apply this entire mental model in my current code base. So I have learned all the concept, the mental model, the system design, the architectural thinking, so on and so forth. So there is a apart from implementation. So I organize my code base very nowadays in a modular way. So here I want to understand the implementation stage. Like, so here we are talking about this software engineering framework. So guys, you just if you are just junior developer, your job at stage 8 or 9, just you implement. So the pipeline you follow simple. So if you guys notice, I'm just so throughout my code base, I will walk you through the problem I had faced. That's why I just organize my code base, right? So from day one, I never ever organize this type of code base. So at this moment, I have more than 80, like 80,000 lines of code and 1400 files. So I come up with an idea. So if you look at, this is software engineering framework. So this is a journey. So if you hear about the business problem, so, system thinking, architectural thinking, system design, software architecture. So and if you're a junior developer, just you're a fresher, so you just implement coding part, just implement. That's cool. If you're working a very simple task or simple project, your mental model is simple, right? Back end, front end, that's all. Which means the database, business operation, and UI. So all the code base you write in the controller, it's a business operation, and then you connect the database, and then you consume in the UI. That's that's all. So through this system design or product engineering, so far we understand the business problem. So to understand business problem, I just talk about these three very basic concepts. So we talk about this uh, pain avoidance paradigm. It's basically talk about three things: psychology, technology, and economics.